So what would you say if I were to tell you that the diet that you feed your children, particularly from the ages of 8 to 12, will affect not only their health, but that it will profoundly affect the health of their children and their grandchildren? There actually was a study that was done in verkalix, Sweden, that showed definitively that that's actually the truth. Two scientists, Dr. Marcus Pembre, who is a medical geneticist, teamed up with a Swedish epidemiologist, Dr. Lars Pembre, and they actually did a study by examining historical records from a little town in very northern Sweden called verkalix. And so what they found was a town that was so isolated and that it kept such good records that they could actually correlate what children ate during what's termed the slow growth period, the ages for girls between 8 and 11 and for boys between the ages of 9 and 12. And what they ate during those periods profoundly affected their children and their grandchildren, from the diets, the best diets to the worst diets, from the most abundant to the most scarce, and where the carbohydrates were significantly different. There was an age difference of 31 years. So what are the implications of that for our diet today? So we're now on kind of the grandchildren of a generation that had a huge abundance of processed foods that was very high in terms of a glycemic index. And what are we seeing today? We're seeing an epidemic of childhood obesity. We're actually seeing type 2 diabetes in 9 and 10-year-olds. And we're seeing this whole array of behavioral problems, things like ADD, ADHD, even autism, that are skyrocketing. And so if we look at the verkalix study, look at the data that they accumulated, and then we look at the diet of children in the 70s, now whose grandchildren are now, in elementary school, we can see that we've gone down a perilous path, and that we've shortchanged our children. But we also know is that if we change the diet of the children of today, we can profoundly affect their children and their grandchildren.